Hey folks, my guest today is Bizkundu Roy. He's building a company called Coaster, COASTR.com. It helps digitize vehicle rental operations. Now, he's a software engineer and management consultant by background. He's also an avid traveler, and he's faced numerous issues while renting cars, which forced him to think about finding a disruptive solution for the industry to ensure fellow travelers can benefit from a truly digital car rental experience of the future. Biz, you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely, ready to
All
go.
right. I know there's nothing I like less than flying across the country, landing in LA, waiting for the Fox Rent-A-Car bus to pick me up at the airport stop, then waiting in line at Fox Rent-A-Car for an hour, and then not having the car available that I booked because it wasn't actually confirmed. And then it sounds like you've experienced the same problem.
It is exactly the kind of the starting point of where the coaster journey began, because I'm quite a regular user of car rental myself, and I just stopped to wonder what a kind of totally different experience could look like, and that's where sort of the idea behind Coaster really emerged. And what we are effectively doing is really taking a step back, looking at what customers really want, and providing the technology to the car rental operators to achieve that. So almost making them future ready.
So who are you selling to? Are you selling to Fox Rent-A-Car and Hertz and these kinds of people?
Yes, a large part of our kind of proposition is to sell to or provide the innovation and the platform to car rental, vehicle rental operators. Although a lot of our focus tends to be in the more kind of SME sector. So, we are trying to almost equip the local car rental businesses. The reason for that is, which is another of my kind of, or our finding is that a lot of the local players don't have access to really state-of-the-art technology. For them to build something that we can offer is really, really difficult. So we are sort of democratizing the access to such innovation for these, and thereby creating an upliftment of the entire industry as a whole, so that every bit of car rental services provided to every consumer or every corporate user achieves the same kind of digitization in future.
And so
So
what do
that's kind
these
of the idea
small
of.
sort of car rental shops pay you per month to use the software?
Well, it would vary depending on what they would take, but there's quite a bit of flexibility. So, for example, they could just use the software version without any of the kind of connected mobility or connected cars technology. But very, very basic users would pay anything between kind of £3 to £4 per vehicle per month, and that could as they
Three
pick
to
up
four
new
pounds
and
per
more
what?
advanced per vehicle per month.
Per vehicle. What if a vehicle doesn't go rented? It's just sitting on the lot.
No, so it doesn't matter. So it's more on the asset rather than on whether they're being booked or not. So we don't charge any commission on the booking. It's more about management of the asset, because our platform is a operational platform, right? So
So
they're managing their asset.
how many cars on average do your customers have as an asset base?
It would vary again. What we classify them as tier 3 and tier 2. So tier 3s are anything between kind of 10, 15 vehicles to up to, let's say, 1,000 vehicles. And then tier 2s are the slightly larger volume players. So anything with 1,000 plus vehicles effectively is a tier 2. And then your Hertz of the world are tier 1s in our kind of the way we classify the customer segmentation.
Mhm. Sorry, tier one is more than 10,000 vehicles.
I would say they are more sort of multinational, global. They could have fleet anywhere from kind of 100,000 plus.
100K plus. Okay, interesting. Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay. Yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise. They sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. So today, though, I mean, it's hard to focus on all three of these customer segments at once, right? So I'm gonna force you into an average here, so we can just move along. What does the average customer sort of pay you per month? Is it 1,000 vehicles, so $5,000, 50 grand a month?
So I think our average consumer base on the tier threes would be about 150 to 200 vehicles. And then on the larger operator side, it's about on an average, it would be 3,000 vehicles. The reason why I'm keeping them separate is the customer concentration is different. So if I find an average, it's going to be a heavily weighted average, which would not make any sense. So we have to treat it as two separate segmentation and different averages.
That's fine. So how many are on tier three right now, paying customers on tier three?
So we are obviously focused on the UK market. So we have about 50 plus customers. So these have been largely acquired in the last 12 months. And on the tier two side, we have about 3 or 4 of them who are just coming operational. And then by end of this year, we are looking to bring some more, which are on the kind of early conversation or in the pipeline. So we'd expect to get about kind of 10 or 12 of them, hopefully by the end of this year.
Okay, but those tier two folks paying you for 2,000 vehicles at $4 a pop, I mean, each of them are paying you something like $8,000 a month, something like that.
So the math doesn't work exactly on volume players. So the pricing for volume players would be heavy discounts.
Well, how heavy though? You just said the average tier two is paying $3 to $4 a car. If I take $4 times 2,000 vehicles, that's $8,000 a month.
So I was quoting you the price which you offer as a retail to tier 3 operators. With volume players, there would be a discounted offering of anything between 25 to 30%. So they would pay maybe a smaller amount, anywhere from kind of £2 to £3 per vehicle per month on the software only.
I see. So converting to USD is maybe like it's $3 per vehicle per month across 2,000 vehicles, which is the average you said. That's like $6,000 a month in revenue instead of $8,000.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, I mean, we can take $6,000 a month times 3 or 4 of those that you're onboarding right now. I mean, that puts you at like 18, 20 grand of revenue. Plus you've got 50 with 200 cars each, right? 200 cars at $5 a pop. What is that? $1,000 a month. So there's like $50,000 a month in your tier 3 segment.
Well, I mean, on an average, if you put it at 100, yes. So around about that figure. So we earn about kind of 750 to 1,000 per smaller tier of customer. And then there's the upsell piece. So as they take more of the connected mobility solutions like telematics, keyless entry, that figure jumps 3 times as well in terms of the pricing.
I see. But MRR today is about $100,000 a month, something like that.
We are not there yet. So I think you're quoting on the pipeline, but by end of this year, I think we will be at 100K MRR.
And so what are you at today? Like 10K, 20K?
roughly about the 20.
Okay, got it. So when you told me that you had 50 customers on the tier 3 plan and 3 or 4 on the tier 2, those are not paying customers. Those are people that are in your pipeline.
So out of the 50 that I mentioned, all of them are paying customers, but their fleet would vary. So I've given you an average. I think if you are looking for a more accurate figure, then you have to ask me an accurate figure. But the whole idea here is they pay per use. So as their inventory changes, sometimes they start off with 100, they could go up to 200. They pay per use. So as the
hold on, you said that they were paying per asset. Now you're saying they pay per use.
As the asset goes up and down, they would pay based on the increase and decrease of the volume of the asset. So it's not a fixed amount. What I'm saying is, if they have 20 cars today in month 1 and 30 cars in month 2, they would not pay for 30 cars on month 1. They would pay only for 20 cars on month 1, and as they increase, they would pay for 30 cars in month 2. If they then go down back to 20 cars, then they would pay for 20 cars. So it's sort of follows the asset volume of them.
Do people go down a lot? Why, if someone goes from 30 cars down to 20, are they selling off 10 cars in a month?
I think you probably haven't heard about the major crisis in this industry with supply. So a large part of the asset going down is a result of lack of supply from vehicle manufacturers. So effectively what has happened is a lot of rental companies, small and big both, they had to deflate, but they don't have the same volume of incoming vehicles. Effectively, their
why do they have to deflate?
If you don't deflate at the right time, then you effectively you are losing out money. So the revenue is on the way the rental model work, and I'm sort of going to the basics here. So rental income or rental companies earn income from 2 ways. One is buying and selling of the vehicle at the right time. So they buy in bulk at a reduced cost and then sell their assets at the right time to optimize the value of that asset. So defleeting is essential. And in the meantime, then they are sort of earning through the depreciation of the vehicle by putting it out on rental. So they would have to sell the fleet at a certain point. Some of them do it within 6 months. I think enterprise and sort of the larger operators. The smaller operators sometimes take it up to 18 months. But most of them, you will always see them selling between 6 to 18 months effectively.
I see. So put all this on a timeline for me, Biz. When did you launch the business? What year?
We started, I officially registered the business in 2018. And we sort of started trading 2020 August. That's when our beta platform, or the soft beta version of the platform, went out live with 3 or 4 customers. They're paying some minimalistic revenue or running some minimalistic revenue. But from January 2020, we really sort of increased our user base. So that's where we kind of jumped to about 40, 50 customers in the tier 3 space by end of 2021. And we also onboarded a few of these larger operators, which are just becoming operational as well.
So if you're at 50 customers today doing about $10,000 a month in total revenue, where were you exactly a year ago? Do you remember?
We were about I'm quoting in pounds. So we were earning about maybe 2,000 pounds revenue, which is roughly around 2.5.
How many customers back then?
It was just kind of four or 5 customers beginning of the year.
And how did you fund the business for those 2 years when you were building without any revenue?
We bootstrapped quite a lot. So, first couple of years up until I think August 2019, we were just bootstrapping with a few of us. We applied for a few grants as well. Got a lot of support from various kind of universities in terms of developers and resources. We raised our kind of pre-seed round back in August 2019, which was a small capital from sort of family and friends, which then kind of gave us the capital to hire some engineers.
How much did you raise in the pre-seed?
Again, in pounds, it's about 200,000. I think dollars, it would be about 350 or so.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So 300,000 pre-seed, and most folks in their seed are selling about 20% of the business. Is that about what you sold?
No, we gave up about 8%.
How'd you make that happen? Sounds like a great deal for you.
I mean, it's part of how much we had bootstrapped and how much further we had been. So, we followed some first principles in the whole journey, which is, get a customer. So we had almost like 3 or 4 customers where we were working to sort of, test the prototype, and they had sort of signed letter of intent. So if you build it, they would buy it, effectively, that kind of model. So when we showed all of that traction, it helped to negotiate a better kind of valuation with the people coming in early. We didn't raise a lot either. I mean, given the kind of capital we need, that's a very small amount, or how much we have raised since then. It was a small amount. So we raised only what we needed, and then that we utilized to gain further ahead in terms of traction, launch a early version of the product. Again, evidence the kind of product market fit early, with more customers desiring the product. Incidentally, at that point in time, we had the pandemic and the kind of lockdowns as well starting. So what we did was we started offering the platform for free trials, sort of 3 months, 4 months free trials. And there were a lot of operators at that point in time under huge cost pressure, but also, they were pretty much not doing anything because of lockdown. So they had time and time on their hands to look at new software, new platforms.
Understood. And so fill out the rest of the funding story, just because we're running short on time here. So $300,000 raised back then at a 3.7 valuation. You sold 8% in 2019. Have you raised additional capital since then?
Yeah, we have had 2 more rounds since then. One was a 1.4 million pounds, which is roughly about $2 million, I think, or just a little bit shorter. So this was completed in June 2021, which is, again, mostly private individuals, and we gave up another 25% as part of that. And then I'm just completing a round now, which is going to be another 1.2 million, which should hopefully, I'm hoping this will be confidential for a bit, so I'm not going to disclose the investors, but we do have
30 days. We're recording on February 9th. This will go live somewhere in the middle of next month. So
okay, so we're still kind of completing a transaction with a VC investor. So, but if that completes, then we'll be.
Why do you need the money, though? I mean, if you raised $2 million on an $8 million post-money valuation last year, you sold 25% of the business. Where'd that $2 million go? Why do you need more money now?
Well, it's a tech business, first of all, where we are sort of, we're not running against time, but we are also fulfilling a gap in the market by bringing together various pieces of functionality in one, which means we are building very fast, but we are building a lot.
How many people are on the team full time?
We are based between India and UK. So in India, we have about 50% of the team, around 15, 16 people, and UK has about similar 15 people as well.
And so 30 people total. How many engineers?
Well, I will call it product team. So product team is about 70%. The remaining 30 is marketing, sales, administration, or could be about 75%.
Okay, so about 21 of them are engineers, and then 7 or 8 are sort of marketing, sales, and other things.
Yes.
Got it. So, okay, cool, great. This makes sense. So growing, raising now, so raising initial capital, the 1.2 million you raise now, whatever you raise, what revenue do you hope you can grow to with that capital?
So that's where we are able to get to our 100K per MRR. So effectively, this is being utilized to fund all our sales and operational growth. So we had to invest a lot in obviously building up the team in the sales, but also customer success, which is a key part of yeah, we have got great number of users, but we have to increase our adoption, increase in our support around them. So all that infrastructure and spend plus all the new development. So that's what it's funding. So by end of this year, we hope to utilize this fund to get to our 100K MRR, which sort of gets us to break even revenue.
Well, we're rooting for you, Biz, but we're out of time for now. Let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
The Lean Startup.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I usually follow Jeff Bezos because of his innovation spirit.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building Coaster?
It changes, but right now it's something called Product Board.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I sleep plenty, about 7 hours.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Married.
Any kids?
None yet, but we have a dog.
Okay, fair enough. And how old are you?
I'm about 36.
36. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Sorry?
Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
I think when I was 20, I would wish that I knew that growing old would be so exciting.
Guys, there you have it. Coaster.com launched in 2018. They help smaller car rental companies digitize to make the friction less relevant when they're trying to onboard new customers, get vehicles out the door. Doing about $3,000 in revenue a year ago, now $10,000 a month in revenue today. 50 customers, team of about 30 people. Did a $2 million seed round at an 8 post-money valuation. Sold 25% last year. Sold 8% before that. Now raising an additional amount of capital. We'll see where that flushes out. But Biz, we're rooting for you. Thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Appreciate it.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.